Well, good morning to all those of us who had their clocks set correctly. You'll be happy to know we had a full 8 o'clock congregation as well, so we must be a little bit with it this Lent. That's great. We are, of course, on a journey through this season of Lent. Our gospel today helps set the goal for that journey. Jesus is tempted in the wilderness, and Jesus triumphs because he is able to set his goal and keep his goal as God. That's something you and I have in common on our journey. This Lent, and indeed in our lives, we are called to keep our focus on God, to keep God and God's kingdom as our direction, and to keep all that we do somehow in perspective, in relation to God. That's hard. Lent's a time when we focus on the challenge of that reality. I don't know about you, but there are so many ways that one in our world can be drawn away from God, can be distracted, can wander down, find ourselves down another path, somewhere else where we wonder, where is God? Now, that's part of the human condition. I think one of the most powerful distractions we face on this journey, if we'll admit it, is something that is beautifully illustrated in a book called The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. It's making billions of dollars in the box office, just as The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien made billions of dollars also. You may be surprised, but I'm not quoting C.S. Lewis. I'm instead quoting his dear, dear friend and colleague, J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote, I think, perhaps the greatest fantasy series in the history of literature. And yet Tolkien says that his books are all about a spiritual journey, an acknowledgement that life is spiritual formation, it's spiritual travel. And in his book, The Hobbit, he lays out one of the great challenges of that journey. Bilbo Baggins is the Hobbit, a race of little people who love to farm and love things that grow and who have very large feet and live in an age called Middle-earth. Hobbits live in hobbit holes. Yet Tolkien tells us hobbit holes are not nasty places full of worms. Hobbit holes are beautiful. They're full of antiques and paintings and beautiful things, and hobbits love nice things, and they love to eat, and they love to drink, and they love all of the good things in life that we would call the good parts of life. Those are what hobbits do. And in the midst of Bilbo's security, his safety in his hobbit hole, comes the wizard Gandalf. Gandalf is the Christ figure in The Lord of the Rings and in The Hobbit. And he challenges Bilbo to step out of his safety zone and to go on a journey. Bilbo says, I don't want to leave my hobbit hole. And Gandalf says, Bilbo, when did you become so attached to your mother's doilies and dishes? Get out there. Take an adventure. In fact, the subtitle of the book, The Hobbit, is called The Unexpected Journey. So Bilbo goes on this adventure with a group of dwarves to the mountain called the Smoky Mountain. And there, the dragon Smaug has his lair. And Bilbo encounters one of the greatest challenges we all face. He's faced with dragon sickness. Dragon sickness is what happens to Smaug when he lays on his treasure and does nothing with it. It's a paralysis. It's an obsession with things. Now, we all know that we don't have to be obsessed with things. The trick is to make sure that those things don't possess us. No matter how many resources we have, and resources are good things. Unlimited resources. There's nothing wrong with resources, as long as we remember that the resource isn't the goal. Smaug's dragon sickness is he does nothing with his treasure. He lives his life just looking at it and feeling it and crawling around inside it. He doesn't use a single resource for good. That's dragon sickness. And that's what you and I, in the midst of so many blessings and resources in our world, need to be attentive to. We need to make sure that all we're blessed with helps contribute our journey toward our goal. Forbes magazine last year calculated that Smaug's resources, as depicted in the movie, were worth $62 billion. I don't know how in the world they came up with that figure, but they did. A challenge for us in a land of abundance to give thanks to God for the resources we're given. And this Lent, on our journey, to be attentive toward where we want to be heading, where we want to end up. Bilbo comes back from his great adventure a different person. He's now willing to endure hardship. He is willing to come together and support his companions. He's willing to make sacrifices on that journey. He's willing to change himself into a person more nearly whom God would say he is supposed to be. And that, my friends, is our challenge on our journey. There are many ways we can be about it this Lent. We can be following Lent madness. We can pick up an Episcopal Relief and Development meditation book. We can do so many things to be attentive to the direction we want to take. And my friends, may our journey indeed be one of celebration, of blessing, and may our goal be on God and God's kingdom. In his name we pray. Amen.